Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. I apologize for my absence. I needed a much needed break from YouTube and the hobby, and I was just a bit fatigued, but I am finally back, and today is something very special. Today will be a version 6 Divide and Conquer developer diary featuring three of the members of the development team, Medic, Larinian, and Kama, as I discuss with them changes to version 6 from version 5, as well as the inclusion of the engine overhaul project, and then you guys will get some insight on kind of the developer team's thought processes going into these updates and maybe some of the struggles and challenges that they faced along the way. I will be doing a Dale campaign very soon. My target is sometime in January. At the moment, we just need to go through testing to make sure all the scripts are firing off correctly. And once that is pretty much settled in, I will go ahead and start a campaign. Of course, anything you see in that campaign will not be final. Um, it is subject to change as we get closer to the release. There will be some footage scattered across this video. It is going to be quite a long video, but I will be showing off some of the elements, some of Dale's gameplay, some of their units, a little bit of Dol Guldur's units, and some of the model updates that have happened. So primarily it's going to be an audible episode, but there will be some visual elements, but it won't be a Let's Play. It's going to be a scattering of different recorded footage from the mod. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Divide and Conquer Dev Diary I am hosting on my channel. I am joined here by two of the DAC developers. First off, we have Larinian. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my good sir.
Um, Hello, I'm Lerenian. I am a unit maker for DAC, and I am responsible for the all new units for the upcoming Dale overhaul.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Larinian. And also joining us today is Medic. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey, my name's Medic. What do I do? That's a good question.
You do have
uh, all sorts of random things. Yeah, I'm definitely not a unit modeler, that's for sure. I do stuff with EOP scripts, tidying things up, implementing, like, I can implement models, that kind of stuff. Doing community stuff, doing EOP stuff, all sorts of just random bits and pieces.
Of course, you guys all know who I am, Agamund. I am the unofficial content creator for Divide and Conquer. I basically just took Arakir's spot when he dipped out.
I think it's official now.
Okay, it's definitely official at this point. Thank you. It's what I've always wanted in my life. I'm not lying, by the way. I love this mod. I've been following it for many years, ever since I want to say version, was it 1.2 or version 1 was when I first
Oh wow,
discovered
that's
about
old.
Divide and Conquer, and I was playing Third Age Total War. I think version 2 was when I first discovered Third Age. So I've been a medieval to Lord of the Rings enjoyer for a very long time, and I love to see the mods grow. I love to see the development that's happened over the years, and I'm always excited to see the changes. And we have a lot for the upcoming version 6 here. Primarily, that includes a full faction overhaul for Dale. We've got the inclusion of the engine overhaul project, and many, many more things that we're going to talk about here. So first off, let's talk about the real meat and potatoes of this update. The one that's I think the most exciting is that Dale has a complete faction overhaul that includes a new roster, new buildings, change starting conditions. They have brand new scripts, so they are no longer the pretty much relic of Third Age Total War Classic Blue Dale. They are now their own unique identity, and they have their own flavor in Divide and Conquer. So, when you guys want to kind of take the helms on the Dale rework here?
Yeah, so I actually joined the team kind of halfway through the Dale development, so I didn't actually quite pick up on what the initial plan was for it. Was there anything, Lurinian, that you hated about the original Dale that you really wanted to change?
The one thing I think was like it was like too big. Like for players, I think it's not particularly bad, but for the development, we were too ambitious, I think, because it took like forever to just like construct only one mission, and we had like in plans like 6 or 7 missions for the scripts, and we were so ambitious that we had a plan to um, spread the script for each route. So we had like 3 routes you can take. You can get the good side, the neutral, and the evil route. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for each mission you complete, you could make 1 point for each alignment, either good, neutral, or evil. And then at the end, you could then choose uh, what the faction has become because of that. Um, and I think it was like too ambitious for the scope of it. So instead of this, um, thanks to Nomadic who joined our team when we are just like starting to create missions, and we got stuck like because there's too much stuff. The scripters got like a bit burned out, so Medic came and we decided to like cut most of it and make it like shorter. Um, so instead of like 6 or 7 missions, we get 3 missions, which is already done, but needs like some polishing to it right now. That's what
Yeah,
I
and
can.
and those 3 missions are, I would say they're pretty. They're not just kind of like normal events where you. Yeah, it's not just like a binary choice event or whatever. I think they fit pretty well thematically with Dale. So I guess the first mission is it's about kind of rebuilding your kingdom, I guess you can call it. Lake Town is been completely ruined. Uh, Dale is not in great shape itself. So you start out now with just Dale, correct, Lorraine? That's right.
Yes. You just start out with Dale. Like, imagine this: you only had rebuilt Dale. Like, you got funding from the killing of the dragon. The dwarves give you the share to Dalians. I think in the books was like 1/10 of the whole gold in Erebor, which is a lot, you can
Mhm.
say. But they was in shambles, like total ruins. So the Dalians rebuilt Dale, but the well got drained, so no money left. So what to do now? Now you can expand, and for example, one of these expansions first is to retake Lake Town that was previously destroyed by the dragon. Then was to try to again to um, settle, but we had such lore that orcs came and infested that place and destroyed it again. So you need to take it back from the orcs and rebuild it. That was the plan. And
Mm-hmm.
after this, you only start with the rest of the scripts.
Yeah, so that's going to be
For
your first main objective is to
Yeah, first
retake Lake Town.
yes, and then you get the mission first, so you get to choose between Erebor and Rune, whether you want to get more allied with Rune. So, for example, like in the scripts, I can spoiler a bit, I think here. Uh, you get the diplomat there, and there you get to trade routes with them, and also a huge cash boost. Oh, we have another dev here.
Oh,
Goma.
welcome in, Goma. You want to introduce yourself real quick?
We are recording.
Hello guys, I am Koma. I am one of the main main modelers for this mod. I'm just getting something fixed right here.
All good.
No worries. Welcome in, mate. We're just talking about the Dale faction overhaul currently, and Lyrinian was going over the runic portion of the script.
So
Yeah, so you're choosing between Erebor and Rune because you need help to rebuild Lake Town, right?
yeah. Not particularly just rebuild Lake Town, but like focus the relationship for the future.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because like technically you get this script starts like before you even capture Lake Town, so you can start like um you can get the diplomat like second turn, and the third turn you can already complete it, the mission, because like you need
Yes.
to get the diplomat to Erebor for the good route. So you third turn you can already be done. Like and if you want to get evil route, then you need to recruit the diplomat, and they get to Mistrand. That it will take more turns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's actually one of the kind of complications that come up with scripting all these things is that you need to account for, I guess, what you can call like you need to put in fail safes. So you're talking about, oh, you need to go and get trade rights with Ruin. Well, what if you manage to go and get trade rights before you retake Lake Town or before the script fires? And there's a bunch of these kind of small things that might not be apparent in gameplay that can actually take up a lot of development time, having to consider all these kind of different things, and especially because Divide and Conquer has so many players, you might say to yourself, no, there's no way anybody ever does that, and of course they're going to do it, and then they're going to be upset that the script doesn't work or it's broken or whatever. So it's tough.
Yeah, I also saw nobody will take Erebor because they play Dale. They shouldn't take Erebor, and of course they do this. Of course they do this.
There's a lot of money if you take Erebor.
Yes, I know. Because but you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't.
You need that money to rebuild Lake Town.
No. We will probably do some like Medic said. We will make fail saves. For example, like if the player really wants, then he will able to do it. For example, turning back their back at Erebor, for example, in late game, just attack them. I think we shouldn't just straight up blocking the player from doing that. It's, I think, silly.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you're thinking about these things because it's hard to account for every single scenario. And a part of me sometimes wants to just be like, okay, well, if you're going to attack Erebor, then you can deal with the consequences. But I'm not so sure if I want to start, accounting for all those kind of things. But especially when it goes against what would make sense for the faction in the game or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. But mission 2. Do you want to talk about mission 2, Lurinin?
Yeah, we can talk about it too. So we had a new plan for making the eastern territories more interesting. So we introduced new people that they are living there, meaning the Logath people. The Logath are like descendants, or just like descendants of the Wayne Riders, so Easterlings that came much earlier to these parts of Middle Earth, and they are like related to Easterlings, for example, of Rune, but they are not particular in their same interests that the Rune have. So, but if you no. There are more like tribes centered, so they don't have. They are not like a faction, so but more like city states.
Yeah, or like a subfaction, right?
A sub faction. So if you conquer every was 3 settlements of
Yeah,
4?
so
Three
you
of
need
four.
you need 3 out of 4. Yeah, you need to basically
Three
control the
settlements.
majority of them.
Then you could persuade the Logath to join you. You gain access to the 3 units that are representing the Logath people. But interesting is that if you fail um, to get access to them by conquering them, and Rune gets it before you, then they get it, the units instead of you. So it's not like they're just for you, for Dale. They're also they are like neutral. They get to whoever conquers them.
So if Rune conquers them first, can you go back, reconquer those lands, and then have access yourself, or are they locked to Rune at that
Yes. You could still. Uh, at this point, yes. There were plans like, for example, if you screw up, you lose access uh, to Logath, because there's one thing that we need to mention. Um, it's very big. With the loss of Esgaroth and Lake Town after the when the dragon burned it, it was also what I thought would be kind of interesting. Their people lost the ability to breed proper horses, so they lived on a lake. They already had like no horses at all, but then for example, like libraries burned, so they had nothing. So and they no knowledge at all, and all they have like as are ponies that the dwarves are using too. And your goal would be with the Logath would be to get the breeding methods of horses from them. So if you conquer them, you get also to unlock a higher tier of the stables and better cavalry, because you otherwise will be stuck with only one unit of pony cavalry, which is kind of terrible,
So
I think.
which settlements are these? Because when I look over at the regions, the one that Mariron's in is labeled as Logath of Old, and then there's Erlin's Ferry where Condovan is, Bur Marlinge, Bur Calpis, Bur Graham. Which of those regions are needed for the Logath?
So actually,
Um,
one interesting thing Lorinian did was that he gave those settlements the Candish campaign strategy models. So
yeah.
because
So
they're kind of supposed to be more nomadic people, so any settlement you see there that has that strategy
if
model, or it should
if
also
they
have a
are
rebel
right,
faction.
yes. If there are tents, like Khandish looking tents, then this is the location of the Logath. The kind of would be good remark, because I can't remember the names, honestly.
No, me neither.
Okay, I've got it pulled up. So that is Bur Marlinge, if I'm pronouncing that right. I've always assumed I am. Hondovan, Miriron, and Skarn. Those are the four regions with the
Yeah,
nomadic
probably
tents.
yes.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
might
So you need
be
to.
there might be a
Sorry, go
race
on.
with Erebor for that as well, as Erebor typically likes to go southeast, take Miriron, and push for Skarn as well.
Yeah, that was one thing we had to change was the auto expansion. So if you're playing as Dale, the Erebor won't auto expand into that region. They'll instead go more towards Gundabad. So hopefully you will have to deal less with Gundabad there. Depends how well the AI are going to do, but that was one kind of change. Just so, like you said, because if Erebor come in and take all the Logath settlements, it might be a little bit frustrating for the Dale player.
I think that'll
Because otherwise you need to get like stab Erebor in the back, because otherwise you can get the horses.
that makes a lot of sense.
We had plans to get other means of getting the horses, like a script, like you send a diplomat to Rohan and buy horses from them, like so, or from Kant if they go with the Blue Wizards. But otherwise, the Logath right now is the only option to get horses. Like so, you need to like expand them in that direction.
Outside of your
Yep.
ponies, of course, you do have a tier 1 scout level pony rider unit that you can recruit.
Yeah, that's the only cavalry unit till you unlock more. Yeah, only. So this expansion into Logath territories is important, I think, for the player. I think right now, because maybe later we will expand the script a bit to like to make this fail safe. What we talked earlier, in case the player fails to conquer them, or for example, Erebor gets there in a weird way. So the player should be able to get like another mean of getting the horses for themselves.
Yeah, perhaps maybe
Uh,
if your ally, like if Erebor has 2 of those settlements, like Mirairon and Skarn, perhaps if you're allied to them, it accounts as if you own them, and you might still be able to get access to them. That could be a
Yeah,
potential
we could,
implementation.
yeah, which shouldn't be much adding to the script because of this.
No, not at all. Because so the other cool thing about all these scripts is they are not written in campaign script at all. They're all written with Lua script, which EOP provides, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. But it means that if we wanted to make a change like that, as you suggested, it's trivial. It's like adding one more line to the script, and it just works, and it's super easy to test and everything. So
I'll say I think the auto expansion changes for Erebor when you play as Dale will help a lot. I've seen in many campaigns that Gundabad Doomstat comes down from Witherboard, and then the next turn you get that notification that Dale has been raised, Erebor is gone. So I think that will definitely help the player to not have to worry so much about Gundabad, as you're going to have your own problems with Dale as you expand towards the southeast. You try to get your cavalry potentially fight off Rune or join with them, but you still have that issue of Dol Guldur who loves to creep up on Lake Town. Those orcs are hungry for that for those fish.
yeah, and speaking of Dol Guldur, you actually you made some new unit models for them, Lurinian, right?
Yes. Because I think I did few custom battles with Dol Guldur and thought they look horrible, pretty much horrible, and thought, okay, will be my first time to make orc units, and I think they look okay. They got previewed in the Discord, so I think everyone had a look on them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me particularly, they look great. I think their vibe is like they're not too heavy, but not like very trash.
Yeah, they're good.
Personally,
Definitely.
They are the orcs that get whatever they can to equip themselves, but are not like peasant militia. No,
Mhm.
they are still
re-
warrior orcs. I think that this is the vibe I get, but I don't know how everyone else would get it. I hope this is still an improvement what was earlier, but I
The vibe
hope
I
people will like
sorry.
it.
The vibe I get from them is definitely like what you said, in that they're not super basic, but they still look like they are part of like Sauron's army. They have good equipment as far as orcs goes. It's like stuff that's been made and kind of given to them somewhat. They look as professional as an orc can be, but yeah, really cool. It's just so nice to see some new evil orc units, especially.
As someone that had to go
Okay,
through all the unit cards, I can see that a lot of them needed improvement. Except
thank
Lorenian's units.
yeah.
But I can agree that it has the right mix of, it feels like Mordor, but it's still different. Because a big challenge is not making it Mordor light or Mordor green. That's the biggest challenge with Dol Guldur, or just making it like the Hobbit movies. That's the real challenge, I imagine. Because we already use those visuals for Gundabad. And
There's
I'm
not
not
a lot
really a
of
fan of
concept
those.
art.
There is, but it's basically just the Hobbit movies because they confuse them with Dol Guldur or Gundabad, and no one really agreed on that. But personally, I would prefer direction of making it like Mordor. But the challenge is just making it distinct enough without going too far from it, in my opinion. Because they're still part of Sauron's
That's a
forces.
big challenge. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think in general, a lot of the orcs could definitely use a facelift, and it's great to see Dol Guldur kind of pioneering that visual update. And I think the models look fantastic. They'll be overlaid throughout the video here, so the audience will be seeing all of these nice, majestic orc models. Rolling back to Dale, we talked about their script a little bit. We want to talk maybe about some of the benefits to either joining with Erebor or joining with Rune that the player can expect.
One big plus for the joining Erebor, for example, is an unlocked upgrade for some units you get to unlock in the last part of the script. So you get unique visuals for that.
Armor upgrades, right?
Yeah, armor upgrades.
Yeah, so I think Dale had some kind of special armor before. I'm not super familiar with that, but if that did exist before or it was locked behind some other way, that's been removed now. So if you want to get the armor upgrades, you need to kind of choose to side with Erebor at the beginning. And you also get access to Dwarven enclaves, I believe they're called.
Laborers, I think. Laborers?
Oh, yeah, the building is called
Dwarven
Enclave. Yeah. I just want to also say that it wasn't just, me and Lorinian who did this work. My understanding is that Wicked also did a huge amount of work on all this Dale stuff. So, stuff like the Dwarven Enclaves, that's all kind of stuff that he's implemented, and they were his ideas and everything. But yeah, you get the enclaves, which you can recruit dwarven laborers from. I think they also, if you pick the dwarves, you get access to certain traits, which help to rebuild stuff. So, it's kind of like, do you get help from the dwarves to rebuild stuff, or do you kind of go to Rune for a more, I think, kind of financial benefit?
Yeah, Rune is like primarily just financial help. And also, if you get to unlock the elites, you also get to, if you choose the evil route, so Rune, you also get a new, nice, unique unit for this.
From the third part, right? From the third mission.
Yeah, on the third mission, I think, yes.
Yeah.
It was what we called it abjurers.
Mm-hmm.
Barding abjurers, or something like this. I can't remember that. So, but it's not very nice unit. I think it's kind of it looks okayish. I think for my tastes, although I made it.
I think it looks awesome. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah. But
Which unit are you talking about?
Very. The golden one, the bomb throwing.
All the oppressors, right? I think.
Yes,
Yes,
they
yes.
were called. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I love them.
yeah, they're
I think
really
they're
cool.
better than the runic models we have.
They are two-handed scimitars and bombs to throw. So very unique, like
Mm.
only Rune and Isengard had previously bomb throwing units, and now they will be one to have two, if they choose Rune for in the first mission.
Yeah, so there's a lot of replayability in this script, and it's also you make a decision earlier on, and it might not have an effect until kind of later on in your campaign. It's not kind of immediately choosing an option and then you get all the benefits straight away. So yeah, I think the script is really cool though. I think the ideas were really good, and overall it's really nice.
Yeah, Wicked with the first mission did a great job.
Yeah.
I know when you build the envoys or the enclaves for the dwarves, that also gives you some global bonuses in the terms of reduction to your construction
Yes,
costs.
that was like thought, because like dwarves are construction masters, so they should be able to give such benefits to constructing.
I know
It makes sense.
these are limited into how many settlements you can build them. I know that they could be built in Dale, Esgaroth, I believe Grasgard as well. From there, I'm not certain on how many other regions you can produce these in, but they do stack, so you can get significant building cost reductions playing as Dale if you decide to ally with the dwarves, which I think is probably the more
That's
natural
one
path.
of the benefits. That's one of the benefits of siding with good with Erebor.
And you'll get good either, I forget if it's in the form of traits or ancillaries, but you will get advisors in your either your traits or your retinue for your characters as well, that would make them better at governing provinces as well.
Yes, yes. I think there was. Can't remember well because I wasn't the one to implement them. I think it was Wicked that did it. But yeah. There was such thing.
Yeah. So mission 3 is the kind of final part, which is after.
Unlocking the elites after you get the horses. You need like get the decision to what we do with our army. Like we are spreading our army. We get more territories, and what do we now do now? We get to face new enemies, maybe like. So what do we want with our army? And so you need to like send what was my idea to like make a center military. So you get to expand the palace to specialize in some kind of warfare. And then you get it's not like a choice script, choice event, but like you get the choice to build three different types of the upgrade for the Girion Palace in Dale.
You can only choose one, right?
Yes, you only can choose one. You can specialize in three: infantry, archery, or cavalry. And each of these specialties gives you certain bonuses in units, especially. Like if you get, for example, archery upgrade, then you get another bit better unit of hybrid archers that you can recruit everywhere. And also your elite noble unit get expand their limited um, recruitment gets expanded to the whole Logath region, not just like Dale and Esgaroth. So this is like very big bonus, I think, for archery. For cavalry, you get like a new very heavy cavalry archer horse archer, and also kind of mercenary stylized cavalry units. So you get like two new cavalry units with this palace upgrade. And for the infantry focus, you get the custodians, the Lake Time custodians that are previously only available in Lake Town if you rebuild Lake Town. Like, because the rebuilding, thanks to Medic, it's represented also in the custom strategy map. Like at the beginning, you only have like ruins, and this is represented by a building. So if you rebuild the building, the ruined Lake Town to rebuild Lake Town, that CSM also will be updated to a rebuilt one, not like the burnt and in shambles.
Mhm.
And by rebuilding this building, you also get access to this Lake Town custodians, and as a reward also a custom general with few units.
Yeah,
I
and then
think
you can then there's another kind of level of that
yes,
building line.
yes, another upgrade for for the last upgrade for the Lake Town is like building the bell tower for in Lake Town. Like this is kind of my idea of making the bell tower. So like this is the bell tower is like a kind of reminder of the horrors of terror that the dragon gave to the Dalian people, and to make people remember the horrors and the heroes that fought against the odds. Uh, uh, they ring the bell every year to make a very ceremonial thing out of this. And if you upgrade so to this bell tower, you get a bell tower guard unit that you can already use because I think the faction heir uses them as his bodyguard. But with this upgrade, you also get it in Dale and in Lake Town as in Esgaroth. So
Yeah, and you'll get another. The CSM will then change as well again when you change that building. So
yes,
that's
yes,
one of the cool things about EOP now is that previously where settlement models and battle maps were tied to the core building in the settlement, we can basically associate them with anything now. So that also means if there's a certain type of building that's not the core building that's built in the settlement, we can change the model or the battle map based on those conditions. So that's super cool because it means we can do way more, a much wider variety of settlement
yeah,
models
it's
and
so
stuff.
so much stuff you can do it.
We should also talk about the Lake Town roster, as Dale has some unique ways of recruiting their units now. Besides these typical, I think before it was just the barracks, archery, and stables line. The Lake Town units, I believe there's about 5 of them, and they primarily come from your economy buildings. Um,
Yeah, because I thought it would be very interesting if Lake Town units that kind of reminds us like from they are a merchant focused units. Like they get there are market guards. There are like private small armies, or private militia. So they are not like very state focused. So uh, the Dylan Kingdom has not much in common with them. The buildings from they came from are more representing them. So for example, we get the Lake Town guildsmen. They came from the tavern building because they are like thugs, like people who from the alleys. So you don't would not create an army from the barracks with them. They are not people who train in barracks and go. They are just like straight up bandits.
They're the
Which
guys you don't want to encounter in the back alley, and they've got
yeah,
these
yeah, you
big
don't want to
two-handed
encounter those.
weapons. Every one of them is strapped with a big club or an axe. So don't go walking down the back alleys of Lake Town alone at night.
Yeah, and each unit got so represented with each corresponding building. So like halberdiers, toll keepers are available at the market
I love those ones,
building.
by the way. The toll keepers, I think they're an amazing unit. Kind of a
Yeah, I like them too. I
mid-tier
like them too.
halberd. The Lake Town units do have very high upkeep costs, so they're great for kind of staying in your towns as guards because they'll get the free upkeep. They're
Yes,
quite
yes, yes.
powerful.
Because that's how they are meant to be. Like there are not soldiers for the kingdom. There are just like mercenaries you hire from the buildings they are there. Like the toll keepers, for example, like to talk, they are not like soldiers for the kingdom. There are toll keepers for the markets. You just like lease them. You hire them from the markets to serve to you. So, but they are mercenaries kinda. So they are gonna cost you. They easy. The thought was they are easy to hire because economical buildings are kinda everywhere. So they are easy to hire but hard to upkeep.
It
So
is
if you are too long in the campaign with them, in your armies, so they gonna drain you very fast.
it is really nice for your settlements, as they'll typically you expand in one direction. You have a very long, narrow, typically. You have a ownership of regions. You're going down the river and you're kind of going from point A to point B instead of expanding in like a circle like other factions might. You're going in a line, and so it's kind of nice that you're expanding your trade routes as you're pushing farther down the river, and you get the advantage of being able to have these quite powerful guard units. As long as you have the free upkeep slots, you can throw in your grain exchange, and now suddenly you have access to an armor piercing halberd unit with good stats that can kind of defend your settlements from say Rune or Dol Guldur, whoever you're fighting. It's really nice to have. But if you field armies with these guys, you're gonna pay a premium for it.
Yes, yes, that was the idea. Yeah, they're like very short term for the campaign. Very short term. Like you shouldn't be using them very often, but very also they're like I think the like only option when it comes to armor piercing, other than the uh, black arrows of the bodyguard and the Beltower guard. So
The
if you
scouts
want to
also
get
have the armor piercing
yeah,
as
the
well.
scouts too, but they are pretty trash when it comes to armor. So if you get them charging, they're gonna die pretty quickly.
You have three options for armor piercing that come from the Lake Town line. The
Yes,
guildsmen, which are
yes. So you get
your thugs.
yeah, the
Uh,
thugs,
you have
the
the
the toll
toll
keepers,
keepers. Yes.
and the custodians. They're the elite ones.
The custodians are really cool. They've got these big bardiches, and they are like extravagantly armored as well. And I really like the feathers that they have on their helmets. I think that's a really like
Yeah,
cool
I like
addition
them
to their
too. I
unit
like them
models.
because I made them. Okay. Yes, because I did. I think I don't know if I told this. The custodians, you get them to recruit them everywhere. If you choose the infantry focus in the palace. So if you build the uh, palace extension for the upgrade for the infantry focus, you get the custodians to recruit everywhere, which is kind of OP, but some benefits should be given.
Yeah, I mean, horse archers are OP as well. So if you can get them everywhere, it's fine.
They are a smaller unit size. They are 90 men on the largest unit size setting. When your Lake Town guildsmen have say 175, or your standard infantry might be around 150 to 170. So you do have less men, but they are very elite. Looking at their stat lines, they are armor piercing. They're good against mounts. They have a two-handed bardiche, 10 attack, 8 charge. They have 21 total defense. Most of that being armor, with a 12-9 split between the armor and the defense skill. These guys are very elite and very strong, but they are
Yeah.
limited by their numbers.
Yeah, but that limit will be kind of negated if you get a palace upgrade, so you can get like more units of it in the late game. But that is it if you want to specialize in that kind of troop, if you like it, for example. But like also if they are the same like other lake time units, so they cost not very much, but their upkeep is abysmal, like very high. Like I think I set it to 480. That's like elven high tier unit.
And they will probably get their butts kicked by an elven high tier unit.
Yes, probably yes.
So these are still men after all, and these are primarily wealthy merchant guardsmen.
Yes. There are like private armies of the richest of the merchants that wanted to give something to the state, something to the kingdom.
These guys are what the privateer X-Men want to be.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I feel like we've gone through most of what Dale has to offer. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about with Dale as a faction? We've gone over the Lake Town units, their scripts, the Logath. Anything else we want to talk about with Dale?
I just wanted to say that the unit modelers did an absolutely amazing job on the units for Dale. It's easily some of the best units I think Dak has ever seen. So big props to them. There's a massive variety of units as well. It's not just, like 5 or 6 new units. The entire roster looks really high quality. So great job, everyone, on that.
And each of the kind of sub faction units have their own distinct look. So it's not just a copy and paste of the style of like the Dalian units with they now have their kind of orangish, brown, red, and cream color scheme. That isn't just shared across the faction. Those assets aren't just reused. But the Logoth units have their own identity. They have these funny little hats that they wear. They use a lot of greens and browns in their color scheme. The Lake Town units show off a lot of blues and metals. So each of these sub factions have their own like identity, and then between the units, they're all very distinct as well.
One thing I would like to comment on is how it's not super one-to-one to the Dale from the movies. It has its own like real style, but it's not too on the nose, in my opinion. That was my main problem with many mods, just making them the same 5 versions of those Dale soldiers we saw in the movie.
But we do get a unit like the Dale soldiers in the movie. We have the Dale Guardians. So that is represented in one unit, which I think looks absolutely amazing. I love the way that they've turned out. These are, I think, primarily archers, 6 missile attack.
Yeah,
8
this is
melee.
the hybrid archer that you can get as a reward for specializing in archery in the palace building. There are like the like a bit of a risking of the basic barding marksman, because if you choose the palace upgrade for the archery, then the marksmen were like, oh, we get more money, so how about we just get the traditional Dalian armor that we used to wear back in the days, so we can bring hope to people, like if the dragon never came, and this unit came so much. I think I like it. Could be better, maybe. Uh, but all in all, fits the roster this way. Like we get them if we get the special upgrade, and they are there because yeah, we want to be traditional because of our taste, not because I said so. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get this really nice mix of you get this really nice mix of like the visuals that you're familiar with from, say, the movies, and then you get what I think is really valuable is, you know, new and different interpretations of what Dale might, what their units might have actually looked like. So, like Koma said, it's
I thought
oftentimes you get the same stuff.
yeah, yeah. Because I thought the armor should like evolve, like not every time, every faction after some events would wear same type of armor after, let's say, 200 years. Like that's nonsense. I think every
Mhm.
armor evolves or devolves. So I thought like maybe getting another style would like make the faction more fresh. Yeah, getting but still making like using same like few visuals like same symbols like the trash symbol
Mm.
that they used, um, some particular helmet designs that they used. For example, for the elites, I used just helmet designs of the Veta concept, but the rest is our loose interpretation of the roster.
Motifs and the themes are still there. Really nice
Yes,
to
yes,
see, and that's represented across
yeah,
the whole faction.
And I like the
yeah,
closer like dwarven themes to it too, since they're right next to Erebor.
Oh yeah, the bodyguard unit has really nice kind of
And the upgrades.
dwarven themes. Yeah, yeah. There's lots of
yeah.
really cool armor upgrades as well in the roster.
So yeah, if you get the upgrades, choosing the Erebor side in the mission 1, you get the upgrades, and these upgrades also make your elites look more dwarven. So like you get the chamber, you get the dwarven pauldrons, very nice. You get the gauntlets. Um, you get a more metal on yourself. I think that's very cool. Uh, in every way. So I think most people gonna take the Erebor route anyway.
I was just thinking that. I was thinking, this is making the Erebor route sound way too good. We need to do something on the other hand.
But the
But look, there's plenty of time.
having the option is nice to say betray the dwarves. Maybe you should have gotten more than 1/10 of a share of the money. Maybe you should have had all of the money. After all, I mean, your people suffered as well. Maybe you should have had half. So maybe the Easterlings and their influence is tantalizing. You will get a lot of wealth from their caravans, and some very powerful bomb throwers. Who doesn't love some bomb throwers?
True.
Everyone
You
loves
should,
bomb throwing.
yeah, you should work for the Easterlings, Sogomund. That was a good, convincing argument.
I mean, construction cost reductions are nice, but if you don't have the money to put into it, it's kind of meaningless.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Those caravans keep coming in with was it 5,000 gold?
Yeah, yeah. You get like I think what's yes, it was like 5,000 gold straight up, like straight up 5,000 for you,
And I think
and
there's a
then
little
you
bug going on where it happens every turn, right? Has
Yeah.
that been fixed?
Although maybe we should make that a feature. Now that you say it, I like this continuous
yeah,
trade
yeah, yeah,
caravan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
it was intended so, yeah.
maybe like every 10 turns or so you get a new caravan, and maybe after a while it starts to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me write that down.
There's got to be some reason to join up with the Easterlings. You will have a lot of money if you do that and take airport for
Yeah,
yourself.
but the carniversary, what was the building? The Dalian carniversary.
Oh yes, we forgot to mention that. Yeah, there's a special building you also get, like the Dwarven Enclave. There's a ruined variant of that.
Yeah, and
Also
then you get
struggling
all
to
the
pronounce it,
yeah,
Caravanserai or something.
Mm-hmm. You have the typical grain exchange merchant line. You have the trading posts, and then you'll also have access to the caravanassery, whatever we want to call it. So you have a lot of trade building. You join with Rune, you will
Yeah.
be swimming in gold.
Yeah, that's the point of choosing Rune. Gonna swim in gold.
I love the dwarves too much to betray them.
Me too.
And of course, you would lose access to your dwarven units, potentially even the elven units if you side with Rune as well.
Yeah, just
Or
to make it, it's not intended that it's kind of like Dale is going like full evil, like siding with Sauron kind of thing. It's more a pragmatic. We need money, and Rune is the best kind of person that can help us with it. But it isn't like a full, like it's not a good and evil kind of choice. At least that's my understanding. Is what it's not intended to be.
it was intended so in the original script. Like in the last script, it would be he was choosing like to be an agent of Sauron. But that was kind of too much ahead of us. So I'm glad that we kind of cut the script.
I can just imagine the animosity from some of the citizens in Dale when they realized that a tenth of the share, they got a tenth of the share of the gold to rebuild Dale, and then some random hobbit from across the world also got to take home a share of it. When the people of Dale potentially could have needed that money more than Bilbo Baggins. Yeah, I think
so
I
the
think this would
script
be
was
a
is great.
I think this would be a good point. We can maybe talk about EOP's inclusion now, kind of the benefits that has given to Divide and Conquer and future implementation. What do you guys want to talk about that? And we got into a little bit of it with the Dale script and the Lua scripting, but what else is there to be gained from EOP's implementation?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very broad, question. I guess just for people that don't know what EOP is, to give a bit of context, it stands for the Engine Overhaul Project, and essentially it expands the modding capabilities of the game in a massive, massive way. I'll just list off some of the cool things that you'll be able to do in the next version. There's no more limit on the amount of units that can be in the mod. Previously, it was 500 for years and years and years, but that's gone now, completely gone. Don't have to think about it. There's no limit on the number of religions or cultures. There's no limit on the number of buildings or their chains. No limit on the number of custom settlements. Talked about that before. There's a bunch of vanilla engine bugs that were fixed. So things like elephants bugging out when they would get to the walls, thinking they can break them down. I think on the Steam version of the game, the Trade Wharf building line didn't work, and it was only on the Steam version that it didn't work. So stuff like that is fixed. It comes with a bunch of other features, like if you ever played Rome Total War, there was an option to view the settlement from the campaign map without going into a battle. So in Rome 1, you could like see your citizens like walking around the map and stuff like that. It doesn't have that in this version, but it does allow you to preview any battle map before you fight a battle. So if you're thinking, oh, I wonder what would happen if I move to this tile, but I don't know what the battle map is going to look like, you can just press middle mouse button and zoom in to see the battle map and then quit out and do whatever you want from there. That's just a small number of things it can do. It also comes with fixes to the AI, which in my opinion was one of the most limiting things about the game. I don't know about you guys, but after a while of playing Medieval 2, you kind of feel like you've solved it in a way, in that the AI becomes very predictable. And it just, you kind of end up going through the motions no matter what campaign you're playing because the AI is kind of just dumb. So one thing that EOP introduces is that Finn has specifically worked on creating not stupid AI. So he's gone in and he's looked at all the ways that he thinks the AI can be improved, and he's made modifications to the actual game engine itself, such that certain things like, say, previously how the AI would only ever attack a bordering settlement under, all circumstances. That kind of stuff has been removed. So if the AI thinks that there's some kind of settlement that's weaker than one on its border, it will kind of go for that. But yeah, all sorts of really cool stuff like that. I could go on forever, but I don't want to ramble too much. So yeah, all the scripts were also written with EOP. What else? Anything you guys have seen from EOP that you thought was cool that I didn't mention?
The culture limit being removed is really nice.
Oh yes, the religions. We should talk about that actually. That wasn't something that I was a part of doing, but EOP also allows for the removal of, it removes the limit for the number of religions. So I think Lynx and Wicked went in and added a bunch of new religions. Sorry, I should explain myself. When I say religions, what I mean by that is culture. So say like the Udunaim have Kingsmen as their culture, right? I think.
They already had that before, though.
Also, I think Harad, Easterlings, like Dorwinion, I think has also their own.
Yeah.
Isengard has their own now.
Oh, Isengard, yes.
I've got a list here.
And the Wildmen.
Every faction that deserves.
We've got Easterlings have their own culture, the Avarin for Dorwinion, the followers of Saruman, followers of Sauron, followers of Melkor. We have Southrons, we have Nomadic, which Khand uses, and we have the Wathririm, which is the men of the of Enedwaith, and Dunland can join that culture as well should they decide to turn away from Saruman.
I like the side effect that you can also have more portraits, and I think you can also have like new UI now for every faction. I think that was separate though, the UI for every faction.
Yeah, you're right though. But with the new religions, it allows for much easier setting up of the portraits. And actually, so as part of that, because Isengard has a new custom religion or culture, sorry, I should say, they have a whole new set of portraits. So shout out to Foglurker, who made, I think, 40 plus new portraits for Isengard. So now all their generals will look like Uruk-hai instead of generic orcs, the same as Mordor. So that'll be cool.
You can have Dunlendings that don't look like your average Tom and Bill.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Dunlandings, we also have new voices for Dunland's units, courtesy of Varix. If you play a Dunland campaign, you will now hear some fresh sounds from their units, which I think is really nice to have.
Yeah, I haven't listened to those actually. I'm excited to see them.
We also have had some changes to the Reunited Kingdom, the Dunedain / Arnor. You guys want to talk about that?
Yeah, so it's nothing major. Don't get your hopes up. It's not going to be like a version 5 tier update. It's kind of just a bit of a polish on when you form those kingdoms. So now when you form Arnor, you will get a new color. Your faction color will change, your primary and secondary color. You will get a new name for the faction. You will get a new faction icon. You'll get a new icon on your banner. And that applies to Reunited Kingdom as well as normal Northern Dunedain. So each Northern Dunedain, Arnor, and Reunited Kingdom will all have their own unique colors, icons, names on the strategy map. So yeah, that should be a bit more polished, I guess you could say. Be a bit more exciting to pick one or the other.
I think also Northern Dunedain got one model from me.
Oh
It was
yes.
the
I forgot about
upgrade.
that.
Yeah, upgrade for the Dunedain Wardens. So if you get like Arnor or Reunited Kingdom, then you get a upgrade for the Dunedain Wardens, so that they don't look like the Rangers. They look more heavily.
Oh, and that's Arnor exclusive, is it?
Um, I don't think so, but
Okay, sorry. No, I thought I misheard. I must have misheard.
Yeah, that was
I
long
think so.
needed. That was very long needed
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them.
yeah. I also asked for this from Arahir, but I think it was one of his streams, but he straight up said no. So when I got the skill to do it, I think I just did it. I just did it.
I
And
remember
shout out to LL, Lois Lux, who provided the assets for it. Because otherwise, I would never do it.
I remember there being discussion about upgrades to the Dunedain Wardens a long time ago. I think I even mentioned it in our suggestions posts, and the general argument against it at that time was they can hide anywhere. It doesn't make sense to give them armor or visual
I
upgrades.
remember that now.
But they I think it's nicer that they do have a visual upgrade because otherwise they're just rangers in cloth without even a helmet. Um, and they kind of mesh well with the rest of the roster in the later game. I think a lot better, and they really kind of are your only real dedicated spear unit that you have as that faction.
Yes,
Unless you
because
join the Reunited Kingdom.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You get them just too late game. You use them, so having something nice looking, something that doesn't look out of space, out of yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think they've been changed so that they don't hide anywhere now, but they can still hide in
yes,
woods.
yeah, they hide in woods but don't hide anywhere. And I think I also increased their armor a bit and decreased the armor of rangers.
I think that's
But
a good move too, and
yes,
why
yeah.
wouldn't you want your frontline spearmen, especially if they're descendants of the Dunedain, to have more protection? Give them the equipment they need.
Mhm. So that's the I think only changes to
And the unit cards.
armor. And also
Oh yes,
very
very
important,
nice.
I haven't finished
very
all of
nice.
them, but it was most of them so far. Just cavalry's annoying.
They look awesome too. I was really, really like even I think even the Hobbit sheriffs got new unit cards as part of that, and yeah, they just all look awesome. Goma's been
That's
doing
thanks to the
such good
blender.
work on the unit cards.
Yeah, I'm dying over here.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's honestly
I
like
know.
Totally worth
yeah, it makes the unit, the whole faction feel like completely different, even just from the unit cards being updated. So
Ironically, it's more important than the unit model, in my
yeah,
opinion.
almost, yeah.
Almost, yes, yeah.
I hate to agree with you because the difference in work between creating the two of them is so astronomical, but I actually think you're right because most players probably only look at the units models kind of in detail, probably not a
Because
huge amount.
my philosophy is that that's your first impression of the unit. It basically decides, hey, this is the unit. It looks cool. It has a cool pose. Or,
Hmm.
man, I can't tell what he has in his hand. What is that in his hand? That was a big problem I had with vanilla Third Age and earlier versions of DAC. Not to downplay that work, because I understand it's not a glamorous thing to do, because you're just looking at pixels all day. But for me, I always cared about that. And now with Blender, because back in the day we only had Milkshape, and Blender wasn't that good at making good renders in those days. Or maybe I got better, I don't know. But with these renders in Blender, I can get the shadowing, I can get metallic shine when I have the renders. It makes use of the renders we make for the previews, in my opinion. But I think it's been an improvement, and a lot of mods are also doing the same thing. And I'm gonna see if I can get as many as I can, but it's just draining to do it the way I'm doing it.
Worth it though. I think they're easily some of the best unit cards I've seen. And the fact that I think it's such a DAC thing to do to render, like rendering 64 by 64, rendering an image for a unit card that small, to get that high quality. I think it's awesome. That's the kind of polish
Actually,
that
what
I
I do
think
is
DAC is known for.
I render at a higher resolution, then shrink it down in GIMP or GIMP
Hmm.
so it scales down in a better way, because I use an older version of GIMP because the newer versions I just never liked how it scaled things down, and the enhance doesn't work just right. I'm still using 2.8 because I don't want to get rid of the enhance it has.
Well, it's working. It's working. Whatever you're doing.
Keep it up.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind here, man. I still got like 300 units to go, I think. I don't even know anymore.
Well, we appreciate you. All the work you put
Thank
in.
you. And besides that, I also have some units to do, but I'll be for next version probably.
What I always think is interesting is comparing some of the old archaic units to the new ones. Cough, cough, Rohan, compared to modern Dale. Nudge, nudge, wink,
Yeah,
wink.
the thing is, even it was archaic in that and when it was made. Because if you look at Rune, that hasn't been changed since 2008, and it still looks pretty good. Most changes were just textures, like little texture adjustments or with more decals. Because if you look at most mods, they still use Disgruntled Goat's texture work. It's really amazing for when he made it. Let me see.
They are totally high quality.
And they're still in 1K.
But
Mm.
the downside is that the units don't get a lot of variation to it. So
Not a lot of variation. Never use the same one.
yeah.
We don't have the original assets anymore. And then, if you look at a lot of the older models, in the kit bashing days, you can see all the texture artifacts on them. Like you see like those little purple and green dots on some
Yeah.
models because they've been going through like a million DDS compressions.
Yeah, if you're a
That's
modder
the
out there, do not save your textures over and over again in DDS. You will ruin them.
Please use
Please.
PNG.
Yeah, any uncompressed
Please.
format.
Yeah,
Please,
don't
if you want
export too
to
much.
kit bash my assets, just ask me for the original PNG, man. I will give it to you.
Another really cool addition to version 6 are the new landmarks. We have a lot of these that have currently been implemented and more on the way. A lot were created for Harad. Who did that, by the way? I forget who's working on those.
So that was a guy called Skywalker. He
Shout out to him.
was originally, shout out to him. He was originally doing some. I think he just really likes Harad, and he had felt like Harad was a bit neglected, which I'm sure everybody can agree with. They're in a kind of funny place at the moment in the game.
Ironically, they've been changed a lot compared to Third Age Total War. Ironically,
Yeah, they do
we
have some
got the United
interesting
Tribes.
things. Yeah, they got the script, and they have the Muma kill, they have camels, they have is it not the half troll guys who are really cool, but that's kind of really all they have going for them. So he basically wanted to just give them a bit more kind of flavor, I guess. And so because EOP completely removes the limit on buildings, it means we can just add what we're going to call landmark buildings, I guess, across a bunch of settlements across the map, with the idea being that everyone is familiar with the kind of traditional settlements that are mentioned in the lore and are on all the maps and everything. But when it comes to the kind of lesser known settlements or ones that are completely made up, there's not really anything interesting about them. They are just generic settlement number 2 with nothing special about them. They have a unique name or whatever. They don't even have a unique CSM or whatever. So the idea with the landmark buildings is that it just makes each settlement feel unique, and it gives it some kind of special bonus. So I think for Harad in their capital, they have some kind of catacombs where there's some kind of like torturers or something, I think. I'm not doing it justice here. I can't quite remember, but that gives a 20% law bonus. And then in another settlement in the south, in Ankaragmir, there's like a Mumakil graveyard, which gives you faster recruitment times of Mumakil and some other bonuses that I can't remember. But yeah, so there's a bunch of those buildings in Harad. He's also done ones for Harondor, which I have yet to implement, but all the text for them is done. He's updated the unit text for a bunch of units. The Serpents units, I know some people have been requesting this for God knows how long. You know who you are. They got an armor bonus increase to their armor. So yeah, Harad has got a bunch of really cool, kind of just small little pieces to make it a bit more interesting.
Yes, I've got a list here of all of the landmarks. So for Harad, there are 7. We've got the Catacombs of Furinor. That's the one that's in Finabel. We have the Path of the Benevolent, the Temple of Sauron, the Basilica of Numenor, the Muhad Bazaar, the Mumakil Graveyard, and the Dark Brothers Landing. So a little bit of lore, I guess, in-game lore that you can find there, little bits of flavor, kind of just more of a reason to make each settlement a little more unique, because otherwise, Oh, you guys remember watching in the movies during the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, those warriors that came from Tal Al Joff? I know you don't because that wasn't a thing. But now there's something unique about Tal Al Joff. I forget which building is over there, but just kind of gives you a little more flavor, and I think that's always wonderful to have. So it's great to have these landmarks be added to the mod. We also have the Houses of the Dead added to Minas Tirith, the Tomb of Thorin II in Erebor. The Doors of Durin have been added as a unique landmark, and Durin's Tower for Khazad Dûm. We also have Fram's Long Haul up in Framsburg, so just a little bit more lore there about Fram. We fought Scatha, the dragon, up in the northern reaches of the Anduin Vale. And we also have the Barrowfield in Edoras, so those the flowers and all the barrow mounds that they have there. That's also been added on. I don't remember what all the bonuses are for these buildings, but you guys can go ahead and discover these for yourself as you play these campaigns. Gives you just something new to see and read about.
Oh, and Brown Boat. Don't forget Brown Boat. Brown Boat also got a landmark building.
Did it now?
Yeah. It's nothing special, but it's Brown Boat, so it has to happen.
It's the best change so far of this version, in my opinion.
I remember the controversy over changing its name from Brown Boat to Sture now. I think it's still like the same meaning, but like in a different language, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not quite sure. I think the original was something in Finnish that translated to Brown Boat, so then it got changed
It was
into Brown Boat.
Ruskilvin.
Yes, that was it.
Yes.
That was it.
I remember
it has
those
a landmark
days.
building now. That's a little throwback to what it used to be.
Yeah, the obsession over that dang settlement. Like I get it, but I remember older like Arakir videos when he would like I think he kind of like complained a little bit about why people love Brown Boat so much.
Yeah, it's just iconic.
It's a nothing settlement.
That's why it's so important.
It's the brown boat into Sture. It gives you a population growth bonus of 0.5%, and it lets you train Rovanian riders and Rovanian hunters from that village. In fact, I have to kind of read the description now. This battered and destroyed boat has been kept in Sture as long as the people can remember. Where it came from or how it came to be, resting upside down in the middle of the town, rotten and covered in moss, is unknown even to the elders. At the same time, it means something special to them, a memory of times gone past, something that made the town what it is, and for that they couldn't tear it down or chop it up for firewood. No, it was their boat, their brown boat. Oh, I love that. I love that. So all you brown boat enjoyers out there, it is in the game and better than ever. Some other changes that we've had added to this version, the ambient sound overhaul. Eric, I know you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, there's not too much I can say about this one. It's probably going to be something you just need to listen to. So it's kind of a testament to how cool the vanilla game is. But in the vanilla game, there's like an ambient sound system set up for the strategy map, where all sorts of different climates and terrain combinations can produce different ambient sounds, as well as settlements and different cultures of different settlements. What I mean by ambient sounds is like, say you're zoomed into Dale and you're kind of just hovering above Dale, you will be able to hear like the sounds of, what a settlement might sound like. So originally in Divide and Conquer and Third Age, it was just using vanilla sounds. And so I had this deranged idea to overhaul all of that and implement custom sounds across the map. And it was a bit of a task, and it took way longer than I would have liked, and many, many hours of testing, but I think it turned out pretty well. In the end, I was happy with it. So just for example, if you are now looking at Mordor, you will hear the sounds of orcs marching, their war horns. There'll be sounds of kind of like thunder and Nazgul. Occasionally you might hear some kind of whispering from Sauron or something like that. If you're hovering over an elven settlement, you will be able to hear the singing of elves and birds and nice elven things that aren't scary like orcs. And then Dunedain settlements, you'll hear kind of clanging and training and all that kind of stuff. So, like I say, it's easier if you just, next time you load into the campaign, you just kind of turn down the sound effects and you just kind of listen and see what you can observe. And yeah, I think it's a nice immersive addition to the campaign overall.
I think what I'm gonna do
Man, I
is
really love that change.
I'm gonna overlay those sounds over the video, so they'll just be good background ambience. You guys will hear
Yeah, that'd be
exactly
cool.
what he's talking about.
But that was a really good change because I know with EOP you can like put in animated strat models, correct? Right?
Yes, in a very roundabout way. It's quite difficult to do.
Because
Yeah.
one idea I always had was like having the fell beasts just circle around like the peaks of
Yeah,
Mordor, like in Battle for Middle Earth 2. That when I heard
I
those
was
fell
just
beast
gonna
noises,
say. Yeah, that was actually a great
like
source for sound effects. I think some of the Fellbeast sound effects are actually from Battle for Middle Earth too. So
yeah, it helps a lot for the immersion. It reminded me a lot of that intro when Gandalf is like Sauron is in the east and
Mhm.
just passing over Mordor and you're hearing the fell beast going screeching in the distance. I don't know. It just added a lot to it, in my opinion. And I really like it. That's all I'm going to comment on.
Another cool thing that's been added, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure this is because of EOP, are the defeat traits. So there are 82 unique defeat traits that have been added to the mod, and they're given when one of your generals or commanders is able to defeat or kill a unique enemy general in battle. So if you defeat, say, Denethor or Boromir, Saruman, you will get a unique trait for having defeated them in battle. Now, is that because of EOP or is that a native ability?
no, that's just a native ability, and that was Wicked who did them. Man, he did such a good job. Like the the defeat trait like text is really, really, really good. Like there are some funny lines in there. There's some kind of serious stuff. There's some pop culture references. It's actually he did a really good job. And so yeah, he had to do like 70 different characters and then write the traits for them and update the text and everything. So I think that's going to be a really cool addition.
I'm pretty sure the one for defeating Boromir is something along the lines of this general is another among a very long list of people that have killed Sean Bean.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of stuff. And it is actually genuinely funny as well when you read through them too. So it's nice.
And a lot are loreful. Some are like nods to, some are pop culture references, but some are like, in-game lore that, kind of makes sense for this general to have. So, you're not. I think Sean Bean is the exception where it's kind of like breaking that, fourth wall into who they are. But I think for the most part, all the other characters are more loreful entries, I guess, for what a general would have for defeating them. Sean Bean's the exception. I do think there's another I think it's like an inside joke for the Discord, for the Divide and Conquer Discord. I think it's either when you defeat Saruman or someone else. There's I can't remember which character it is exactly, but it's like I had to like ask about what it was for, and I think it's like some inside joke within the older dev team about the Discord. If you guys remember which one I'm talking about.
I don't know that. I don't know that one.
We'll
I'm not sure. It's not about Saruman doing the dancing when he gets the ring. No, probably not.
No, it's not that. I'll have to do some digging and see which one that was. It's nice. It gives you something to kind of explore, and I like reading the descriptions on the traits and the ancillaries for the characters. It just kind of adds like a narrative, like a story to them. It's always been a really neat feature of Medieval 2 in general, and I wish they kind of kept this kind of system with the future Total War games. Like it's still kind of there, but it feels like it doesn't have the same like heart and soul into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the trade system too. Sometimes I do think that there might be maybe a little bit too many traits. I feel like after you've had a general for, maybe 10 turns or something, he can often have an insane amount of traits such that you don't really feel like you have any idea what he does or what he's good at, because trying to figure out the kind of net bonuses or net negatives of all his trait effects can be a bit overwhelming. So I don't know if we can do anything about that, maybe by trying to summarize them with EOP or something and displaying them somehow. But yeah, it's tough to find a balance between interesting traits and also not overloading the player with too many of them.
I've seen many a general with promising commander. It's not even special at that point. Just apparently everyone's a promising commander.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we just make some of those hidden until they become more interesting, until you get level 3 or 4 or whatever.
I do love the little flavor text when you look over like renown or command. So, I've got Prince Brand here with 3 renown, and it says he once thought somebody waved to him on the street and he was mistaken.
Yeah, somebody did that. I think it was in version 4.6. They all got updated, and it was really good.
I think that was Galu himself that wrote those and implemented.
Yeah.
Also, we have for changes a really interesting one for Lothlorien. Is that Galadriel is now a general. She is locked to Karis Galathon, and then she is able to be moved once either you conquer Dol Guldur or should Celeborn die in battle, then she will basically, be able to take up arms and maneuver around the campaign map.
Yeah, I think Lynx is. I'm not sure what the official working title of the submod is, but if anybody's played his submod for V5, his Galadriel kind of Lorien focus submod, the majority of the changes from that got implemented into the mod, so it's really nice. There is a dark Galadriel model out there that Louis Lux has made that is very tempting to try and implement somehow into the mod. It would be interesting to do some kind of, I don't know, if Lorien decides to keep the ring or something like that, but unfortunately the ring script is such a horrific monster that it's kind of like poke the beast and it's forever unleashed and broken and scary. It's just scary. Don't want to go there.
One day there'll be an overhaul.
Yeah.
Might be a hot take, but I never liked that scene when Galadriel becomes the Dark Lady. If I thought that the effects were cheesy. I thought it was kind of cringe.
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of voice sounds like somebody using like a voice changer or something. It's not. It's a yeah. It's not very threatening. I don't know.
I don't know. I just never liked that armor, that like scale breastplate thing that she has on. It's like the one thing that it's like weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's just never liked that weird scale breastplate thing she got on, but eh.
I think that's mostly it for the major changes. There are some smaller changes that have been added as well, and I'll maybe link a version of the changelog down below so everyone can read that. One thing that's nice is every faction now has ownership of every unit in the battle model database, so there should never be an issue with Silver Surfers. Fingers crossed. There are also new campaign map models for Gandalf, Saruman, and Radagast. Another cool implementation is that when you're allied to a faction, you now have vision over their cities, so you can kind of see how they're doing when they're losing territory or when they're under siege. Are there any other big changes to version 6 that I may have missed here that you guys want to talk about?
One thing that I think will be much easier in the next version is kind of modding or for submodders to create new mods. Part of the reason you mentioned already is that we have basically gotten rid of Silver Surfers. And the reason why we were able to do that was because Finn made a bit of software called the modding tool, which is kind of like a custom tool for modding Medieval 2. And that comes with Lewis scripts that you can run. And one of those Lewis scripts is that it basically gives ownership to every faction of every unit in the battle models database. So even if you add new units, all you have to do is run a batch file and they'll just automatically have ownership. So small things like that. Unit cards, you don't ever have to think about unit cards anymore. You just put them in the Merc folder. That's it, done. Unit descriptions are now automatically generated. So if a unit has an armor piercing secondary, or it has locked morale, or if it's relentless, all that information will automatically show up in the unit description. So if you are a submodder and you hate the thought of, oh, I just want to add this unit, but I don't want to spend half an hour crashing with the BMDB and then 20 minutes figuring out which folders the unit cards need to go into, and then, making sure I run the unit description tool to update everything. All of that is, you don't have to think about it anymore. So that should open the doors for people who want to make small modifications or changes or overhauls. They can kind of spend more time working on the fun stuff, which isn't, copy pasting hundreds of lines and stuff like that for the same kind of item over and over again. So that kind of stuff is going to be really, really good. I guess it would also be good to talk about the contribution model. This is still kind of up in the air, but one thing I think would be nice for DAC is, I guess, to kind of work a bit more with the community, since there are so many talented and eager people who want to help with the mod. I think that's something worth kind of embracing. Because everyone here are all members of the DAC community. None of us had ever worked on the mod before, but I think a lot more can be done if we kind of try and work as one community rather than a kind of set of developers that doesn't change over, multiple years or whatever. So if you have stuff that you've completed and you think would be cool and would be a good addition to the mod, just reach out and we can try and get it implemented, or work with you or your team or whatever you want to do to try and get stuff in, because I think that would be cool. We've got a bunch of really cool community contributions coming in the next version, so I'm excited.
Did we mention the community contest update?
Oh, no. I actually was supposed to do that after my intro and I completely forgot. Yeah, so if you haven't been following, we did a community contest on the Discord. And the community contest was basically, we were looking for new models, new unit models for mercenaries. The idea being that because the unit limit had been broken by EOP, we were basically free to add in a bunch of cool, unique mercenaries across the map. And we thought it would be nice to kind of work with the community and see what they could do and give out some kind of prizes and rewards in turn. So we had a bunch of submissions, really cool. And the winners for that are not in any particular order, but we had Walnut Pants, who submitted a really nice variety of units, from orc units to canned units to Lambden. He had a Lambden free company unit that was really cool. So yeah, he was one of the winners. We'll show off some of the units. I want to do a video at a later stage, kind of going through them all. Also had Blurso Tong, who submitted a unit called the Hedge Knights, which were kind of an Arnorian sword and shield unit with some elven influences. That was really nice as well. And then we also had Pro J Yeet, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and Perry, who submitted a kind of elite goblin unit called the Warg Skin Ravagers, I think they were called. They had like dual wielding Wolverine kind of claws. So yeah, they were the kind of winners. Their prizes have, well, I was going to ship them today, but post office was closed. But I have them all packaged up and ready to go, so they'll be shipped out on Monday. Try and do a video soon. Try and do more competitions in the future. If you have any ideas for competitions, it would be cool. Do you guys have any ideas? Have you thought about it at all? What might be a cool idea for another contest? Like buildings or something, maybe?
I like the idea for buildings. Of course, we can also ask this in the comments as well. And if anyone has ideas too, please suggest them in the video or on the Divide and Conquer Discord. It'd be great to have more of these and have more community involvement.
Yeah, and thanks again for everybody who participated.
I think a good idea would be like replacing the generic generals with something that the community made, like the starting generals.
Do you mean the models, or do you mean like
the characters, the character armies?
That would be interesting, and that wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be super challenging, or
yes,
like you would.
Yeah,
and it would add a lot of flavor, in my opinion.
So it will be like every starting general is like a custom generals with a biography and so forth. Yes.
Like basically like their own OCs, in my opinion. Just like instead of Yag Thak, who no one really cares about, we can be some cool character someone made up.
Yeah, I like that. That's an awesome idea. With a nice custom portrait, special units, special traits.
And I don't know, maybe the first person that wins, or the whoever, some of these generals we can make a custom model for or something, just to spice everything up. Because let's be real, who's attached to a lot of these generic starting generals that no one really knows?
Oh, you're right. You're right. That's an awesome idea. I like that. Maybe we'll do that next.
One idea out there: just give a general with a really bad bodyguard. We have too many good bodyguards.
I agree, but people hate this. I agree. I totally. You know who one of my favorite bodyguards is? The goblin bodyguard with the mountain orc hunters. Like, he sucks because he's got mountain orc hunters which have no armor, but I think it makes the generals like more interesting when they have even a militia
but-
unit.
But EOP kind of
That's-
negates that now, because EOP
You can make unit
also,
upgrades, right?
you can also very easily, but also it kind of removes the replenishment cap. So if, for example, if the orc hunters have 200 units, then you can replenish the 200s.
Ah, that's true, actually. Yeah. Whereas before
Yeah.
it would have been locked to like 77 or something, right?
Yeah, 77. With this unit, orc hunters will be kind of shitty. This unit be totally trash.
Mhm.
Yeah. And with replenishment, some units gain back their original usability. For example, because their usability is they have numbers. They're not very strong, but they have numbers. But also we kinda also restrained the cap. So I think we set it to 128.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah, it's nothing too
120.
crazy now.
Nothing too crazy, but still we wanted to have a cap, because you can still some generals with custom units, especially AI generals, get additional troops to their bodyguard. So, for example, if you have 100 troops in the bodyguard, a faction leader, an AI faction leader, would have like 30 or 40 more soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like very much. And if you jump from 100 to 130, 40, it's like too big, I think. So we need this cap to have, because otherwise it would be too much. Yeah, this is an EOP thing that I also very liked.
Yeah, and we can
and-
even give make copies of existing units and slightly alter their stats to create a custom general's bodyguard unit. That would be super easy to do.
Yeah,
Lurks
also
So
might
they
be
have the
a-
same.
Lurks might be a good candidate for that.
Yeah, that's true actually. To give them, fully upgraded, better statted archers or whatever, rather than the berserkers.
Berserkers, yeah. That's been a complaint that he can die pretty easily since he has berserkers. They just have like no armor. Even with the armor upgrades, it's only a stat of 3, and he can, roll the dice. He can be killed pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
I think people would love to see him have his hunting pack and have his archers as his bodyguard instead. And you could have that just be a one-off unit without having it take up a unit slot.
Yep, and you don't need to do any crazy modeling or anything. Although you could, make a few little text edits. That would be pretty easy to do. So,
And maybe we could have a custom general, Captain Oogdoof with his Snaga champions. They're a mixture of all 3 Snaga units put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be good.
Snaga stalkers with 3 melee attack. Now I've said that, it's going to be put into motion.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Snaga General sounds cool to me.
Oh, he's going to die so soon. Maybe he's the one that I've been seeing in all my test campaigns that conquers Fenestrurin on turn 3.
Yeah, I didn't talk about that actually. The balance of the next version, I'm just going to say, it's going to be completely different. So that's something we're going to have to look out for in testing. But because the AI is so different now, it's objectively better, in my opinion. It's much more interesting to play with, and also to play against and with. Like, your allies' behavior is way more interesting. It's a shame Finn's not here to be able to talk about the exact changes, but it's just a lot more active. It doesn't do this kind of sitting around on the borders doing absolutely nothing for God knows how long. And as a result of that, you get things like the goblins realize that, yeah, we can actually just go to Fenestrunen and we can just sack Fenestrunen in like the first 10 turns, just like how all the Northern Dunedain players go straight for Khazad-dûm West. We can do the same to Fenestrunen. So we're going to have to look at, I think a lot of balancing is going to have to be done. But it's also exciting because I feel like the AI behavior has been somewhat predictable for the past couple of versions. Mordor always gets big, which is fine, but Ruin basically always also gets massive. Enedwaith has been toned down. I know a lot of people have been saying that they're a bit too over the top. I think their auto expansion has been cut down a bit. So yeah, lots of stuff like that has been tweaked. Stuff also like cavalry are better in auto resolve now, like they should be. With the OP, we can kind of tweak those things. Mordor will have less Great Beast spam. There will be a stack. Yeah, I think that's been a universal hatred thing.
It's especially bad because you don't have a lot of counters to them if you've played Sayas Gondor. Like you've got the Lebanon Marines, and that's basically it to deal with those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the amount that they produce, it just doesn't feel very thematic either. I think I changed it so that they get more Temple and Ologhai instead, which I think makes a bit more sense than just pumping out these great beasts from God knows where, rhino armies consuming Middle Earth, you know.
I just want to see the Breland just conquer all of Eriador. An AI Breland just taking over everything, sacking Cardoom, taking out Gundabad. That would be a sight. Might be a big problem if that happens. But there goes Tom, Dick, and Andy conquering Isengard.
Yeah, bloody Bilbo and Barleyman. I still that'll haunt me for the rest of my life. That Bree has Bilbo and Barleyman as generals. Yeah. So I think Bilbo has like starts with like 10 stars as well, and so does Barleyman. It's just it's painful.
We'll say, rest in peace to David Weatherly. He recently passed, and he was the actor for Barlam and Butterburst. Rest in peace to him. This year we also lost Bernard Hill, King Theoden. May he rest in peace as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should keep them. I think there's a new model for Theoden as well. We should see if we can get that. I'm not sure if that's publicly available. Previously, you mentioned we had new strategy and or battle map models for Gandalf, Legolas, Radagast, and Saruman, I think. So Louis Lux is the person who made them. Check out his Patreon if you get a chance. He's got a bunch of really cool stuff there, and he's contributed a lot to, I want to say, Third Age. He worked on original Third Age, right?
He was the original guy that made all the High Elf assets.
Wow.
Basically, all the High Elf assets you see, he made them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. He's an OG of the Third Age community, in my opinion.
Is he the chap that's doing the Third Age 4, or is that someone else?
That's Leo.
That's Leo.
No. Louis Lux does DCI Last Alliance is his main project.
Him and Earl of Memory are doing that right now, from what I believe.
I've been away for far too long.
Yeah, they came back. They worked on the goblins of Moria, or their Misty Mountains right now. Pretty high quality.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, so check out his Patreon if you get a chance. He's contributed a lot.
Anything else you guys want to add or talk about?
Oma, do you want to talk about the Wildmen models changes you've made at all?
Really, what I'm trying to go with them is to make them more Celtic-y. Like, make them less generic, barbarian looking. Trying to make them more unique. Trying to give them some culture. I know it sounds very facetious how I'm saying it, but
I
trying to
think if
get
you look
some.
at the models, it makes sense exactly what you're talking about, though. They look more
Celtic.
like real people you can imagine living rather than, like you say, the other models were. I'm not super familiar with them, but from what I remember, they weren't. There was nothing
They're
kind of bad
serviceable.
with them. Yeah, they just didn't convey. What I like about a model is that when you look at it, you can kind of have a rough idea of what that person, that soldier's kind of life might be like, whether it's the types of clothes they wear or the patterns on the clothes or the types of armor or even weird stuff like what trousers they wear or shoes and stuff like that. So I think what you've done with the Wildman stuff is really cool in that, like you said, it makes them feel like more like they have a culture rather than kind of generic
It's just I'm trying to
barbarians.
find
So
them. Because the
We
main
hope
reason
for
for this
more.
change, because Dunlin got changed and it looks super out of place. Ended with next to Dunlin,
I think
like they look like two different species.
I think the Foulon Warriors got a visual update. I remember seeing
They're
that
the
in the
first ones.
change logs. Yeah.
They're the first ones because they're literally Dunlendings or ex-Dunlendings in their unit lore. When I was talking with Lynx, since he was the brains behind all the Ended Waith lore. And I made new for if you see their banners, I made new banners for every clan.
oh
To
really? Oh nice.
yeah, I made
So,
but basically I try to give them every clan its own iconography. Like for the Fiolan, I gave them the dogs because I remember when wolf imagery because I was talking to Lynx, that was their main animal, and the tower, and the sword and castle, stuff like that, and the Celtic knots, the obligatory Celtic knots.
that's awesome. Yeah, it
Giving
sounds like they already have some good. I liked. I haven't played an Endedwith campaign in V5, but it did seem like they had some really cool lore, and their script seems really nice. So that'll be a really nice kind of polish on the
really,
top with the new models.
I want the units to tell their story. Like for the Mordag, they're like another X tribe of the Dunlendings. They also have to have a somewhat similar look to them. I'm trying to look at them because I haven't seen them in a while because I've been working on other stuff. But they follow the same philosophy, and I want to give them shirts, some bear shirt. I just want to expand what was already there. And me and Bill, the creator of the Dunlending models, get along real well, and we go back and forth with the assets.
Nice.
And besides that, I don't remember what else I changed. I'm trying to remember.
Have most units gotten a change yet, or 25%, 50%? I'm actually not sure how many.
So far, most of the non-United tribes have been changed, or the early game units. The ones that I still need to do is a unit that Loranian helped me with. It was the Filani. That
Filani,
one
yeah,
is
yeah,
based.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved it a lot because trying to find it.
Wait a minute. We still need to do the chariot or something?
I'm just doing the chariot rider. If we work on the chariot, it's gonna take a million years, man.
Yeah, yeah. The chariot will keep the same, just the rider.
Just for now, that's a for now thing. But I want to make it so the nobles, like the chariot riders in Celtic, history, they were like the nobles of every tribe because that's who your main warrior is gonna be. And we gave them these fancy helmets, make it seem like they're not just barbaric savages. I still got a few units to go, like the Ended Waith X units, but I'm just expanding what's already there. I'm trying to see
Yeah,
what's.
yeah, that's nice. So, and a lot of those have already been implemented, right? So even if you don't finish them all, there'll still be a bunch of new stuff that will come.
Yeah, that's for later on. Really, my main thing, they were really more of a side project until Dale got done. Because after this version, I'm gonna try to go back to Kand again.
Oh, that would be nice.
And
Those new general
really, the main
models were Amazing.
Yeah, I want to get to Arkishur so I can give him that. You know the John Howe concept art with the mask.
Yeah.
That Kandish Variag. Yeah. Really, the main change I want for the next version is changing the Variags to be their own people, not just be a generic name for all the Kandish people. Because I remember in the Book of Lost Tales or Unfinished Tales, they made it so that they never mentioned Variag. They just said Kand. They never said it, and that was during the invasion of the Wayne Riders. And I want to make it so the Variags themselves are Northmen or Northman descendant,
Interesting.
because we do know that Variag is could be derivative from the Varangians of the Byzantines or Byzantians or Eastern Romans, not to trigger the Roman files.
It's a shame Finn's not here to tell you how to pronounce it properly.
The Romani.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I think Cand also has a cool design at the moment, but they have a lot of potential to be a lot more interesting, I think.
My main problem is that they're literally Mongolians from Rusushi, or I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, that was
One
the
of-
same with Dale, right? Their entire roster was from that mod too.
Mm-hmm.
The entire one. So every asset
It
I think
was.
they had, it was from his mod.
And really, I'm just trying to make it fully Saka, Turkic. I'm trying to remember what else I was using, and still have Japanese inspiration and Mongolian. But that'll be a discussion for another day. Because me and Lynx were having a whole plan for con in the coming versions, basically expanding the Variag script, the Nomadic script.
Oh, very nice. I don't think I've heard about that. That'd be interesting.
Because the main problem I have with the Nomadic start is you have nothing to do on your way there. Because unlike the Ardenayam, you don't have a boat. You have nothing to do from when you get to Khan to wherever you want to settle. You're a nomadic people. You should be able to live off the land and recruit units on your way there, like in real history. I just want to make it more dynamic. And when you settle down, there'd be like a whole set of buildings. Like you wouldn't even be able to recruit stuff. You would have to, if you want to build stuff, you'd be losing your recruitment options until you fully settled down.
Plus,
Make
you
it
could
like
do that with the mercenary system. You could have
yeah,
a unique mercenary.
that's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we were talking about having mercenaries be recruited as you go, and when you start settling down, like for this specific tribe, you would lose like the recruitment in the merc pool if you settle down, and then you would have to keep going until you fully settle down. Because I want to make it more dynamic and feel like a nomadic people. But that's
Yeah,
for
sounds
another
great.
version. And I think I'm trying to recall anything else I had to plan for that. Should be everything. Really, just making. Besides that, the hardest other point would be what to do with the blue wizards, because they're good, they're fine. Just they only worked for the settled peoples, really, or whenever you were settled con. But like I said, that's a discussion for another day.
Is
Yeah,
there
that's a tough
something
one.
to look forward to in version 7?
The
Got an ETA on version 7?
7.
Yeah, 7.
Focus
7,
on
7.
6 first. It's July 7th, 2027, guys. That's when version 7 drops. You've heard it here first.
2077.
2077.
But for now, I might just make it a purely unit model update for now, so I have the assets ready for like the next version if my plans don't work out at the bare minimum. Because I really just want to update Con to my vision of it.
Alright,
That's basically all.
You guys want to
Yeah.
go ahead and wrap it up, or any last thoughts?
I would just like to say a special thanks to everyone that doesn't have the official DAC developer title, but that has been helping out with the mod. Especially Carl, Skywalker, Revili, MV King. He wrote a bunch of unit descriptions and building descriptions and historic event text for Dale. That's awesome. Bogia has been helping doing debugging stuff, finding problems. And Alexios has been helping out doing building stuff as well. So just thanks to all of them for helping out. It really does make a difference.
Well, I hope you guys are excited to play Divide and Conquer version 6. It is well underway. It will be coming out eventually. I'll just give the generic answer of 7 for now. And thank you for watching the video. And until next time, this is Saragamon signing out. Of course, we also have Larinian, Medic, and Coma. Say goodbye, boys.
Thanks for hosting
Later,
this.
y'all.
It's been fun.
Been nice.